Hello my friends, it's Danny, and today I'm showing you how to make banana bread using oat flour. This is an easy, healthy, moist banana bread recipe that can easily be made vegan as well, which I will of course show you how to do throughout the video. Now you're gonna need nice brown, ripe bananas for this recipe. Remember, the browner the banana, the sweeter the banana. Personally, whenever I go to the grocery store, I buy extra bananas, so I'm sure to always have some browning bananas on the counter. This way, if we want to make banana bread or banana muffins or banana pancakes, we have those brown bananas ready to go. And if I don't get to them, no big deal. I just peel them and pop them in the freezer, and then we use them for smoothies and protein shakes throughout the week. Okay, so to get started, I'm gonna preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to line a loaf pan with parchment paper. Now, I have found the easiest way to line a loaf pan with parchment paper is to take your loaf pan and sit it on top of a piece of parchment paper. Then you're gonna come to the corners of the parchment paper and just cut them out in alignment with the pan. So you're gonna do it just like this. I'm just gonna cut once in this direction, rotate, and then come in the other direction, and then just pull that corner out. And you're gonna repeat that until you've done all 4 corners. Then I just spread a little bit of coconut oil inside of my loaf pan. This could also be butter or cooking spray. And the purpose of this is really just to help hold the parchment paper down so it doesn't wiggle around. So once I get a nice light coating, then I take that parchment paper that we just prepared and lay it in the pan. You're gonna see that it sits in there so easily. It fits in perfectly and it holds down. It doesn't wiggle around because that little layer of coconut oil helps to keep it stuck to the pan. Okay, so the next thing we need is the oat flour. Now, oat flour is a fantastic alternative to traditional wheat flours simply because it has more nutritional density. It's higher in fiber, higher in protein, higher in vitamins and minerals. Plus, it is naturally gluten-free provided you buy oats that have that certified gluten-free label on them. Remember, all oats are technically gluten-free, but some are manufactured in plants that can cross-contaminate with gluten products. So if gluten-free is of importance to you, just look for that label. Now you can buy oat flour at the grocery store, but it's much more affordable when you make it at home, and it's so simple to make. All you have to do is take good old-fashioned rolled oats, put them into a high-speed blender. This could also work in a food processor. Put on the lid and let it blend for about 20 or 30 seconds, and you'll see that you get this nice, light, fluffy, powdery oat flour. Now for this recipe, I'm using 1.5 cups of oat flour. And keep in mind that oat flour is lighter in volume than a traditional white or wheat flour. So it's not a one-to-one swap. So if you're trying to swap the oat flour for a white or a wheat flour, you are going to need to adjust the measurements. Okay, so I'll add that oat flour to a medium-sized bowl along with 1/2 cup of coconut sugar. If you wanted to cut back on the overall sugars in this recipe, you could use a monk fruit brown sugar. That's certainly an option. Then I have 1 teaspoon each baking powder and baking soda. That's gonna help our bread to rise. And then I have some cinnamon. Then I'm just gonna gently whisk this together, get all of those dry ingredients well combined. Set that aside, and then I'm gonna grab a nice big bowl and add 2 large extra ripe brown bananas. Now, you're gonna mash these bananas with the back of a fork. You're just gonna mash it against the bottom and the sides of the bowl, and you wanna break the bananas down until you basically have the texture of banana baby food. Once the banana is all mashed up, you want about 1.5 cups of mashed banana. Then to that, I'm gonna crack 3 eggs and add that to the bowl as well. Now I have tested this recipe using all egg whites for those who want a lower fat, higher protein option. And I have also tested it using flax seeds for those who want a plant-based option. Now, just to show you, I snapped a photo with my iPhone just to give you a visual of the difference between those 3 options. Now, the version with the egg whites was delicious. You almost can't taste the difference, and you can see it looks almost identical to the oat flour banana bread made with whole eggs. It's just a tiny bit less fluffy. The vegan version, you're going to see there's quite a big difference, right? Texture-wise, it's much more dense and it did not rise as much as the banana bread made with the eggs or the egg whites. So texture-wise, I would give this plant-based version of the banana bread a 7 out of 10, but flavor-wise, it's still absolutely delicious. And then next up, I have a 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil, which could also be melted butter if you prefer. And once I have that in there, we're just gonna start to mix this all together. You wanna get it really well. Whoops, guess what? I almost forgot. You also want 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Add that in and then continue to mix until everything is really well incorporated. From here, I'm gonna take my dry ingredients, pour them into the bowl with my wet ingredients, and then continue to mix this all together until we have a nice hearty batter. Now, the final step are your stir-ins. You don't have to use any if you don't prefer, but in our house, when I make banana bread, my kids always request chocolate chips. So I'm stirring in a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. You could use milk chocolate, dark chocolate, semi-sweet. Again, if you wanted something with lower sugar, choose a chocolate chip that is sugar-free. If you want something that is plant-based, choose a chocolate chip that aligns with that as well. And then you're gonna fold those into the mix. You could do nuts here or shredded coconut or raisins or whatever you love in your banana bread. And keep in mind that once I stir the stir-ins in, I like to let the batter sit for about 5 to 10 minutes before I transfer it into my loaf pan. And this is because as the batter sits, that oat flour absorbs a bit more of the liquid, and you're gonna see that the batter just thickens up a little bit more. So I like to give it the opportunity to do that. See it? You can see it looks really good. And then I'm gonna take this and transfer it into my loaf pan. And then completely optional, but very fun, and lets the eater know what they're about to enjoy, I like to sprinkle a few extra chocolate chips right over the top. From here, I'm just gonna pop this into the oven. You wanna let it cook for about 50 to 55 minutes. Ultimately, you are gonna know that your banana bread is done and ready to go because it's gonna be golden brown over the top. And if you were to insert a toothpick into the center, it would come out clean. And another great rule of thumb whenever you're baking just about anything is when your kitchen starts to smell really fragrant and delicious, kind of like you want to take a bite out of the air, that is a good indicator that whatever is in the oven is almost ready to go. Once the banana bread comes out of the oven, I really like to let it cool down to room temperature. It's just easiest to handle this way, and it really holds its shape once it's cool. So once that happens, I just grab the sides of the parchment paper and it lifts right out of the pan. So easy peasy. Remove the parchment paper, slice, and enjoy. This is a simple, delicious, nutritious, moist banana bread recipe that I think you are really going to enjoy. And if you decide to give this one a try, come on down to the comments below and let me know what you think. And if you enjoy easy, healthy, doable recipes just like this, make sure you take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new recipe. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Danny Spies, and I'll see you back here next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers! That is delightful. So much banana, so moist. So excited for you to try this one. Delight.